I want to turn to Peter Alexander at the White House, being watched very closely there. The president has received correspondence from Brittney Griner. There has been talk of a potential negotiation now between Russia and the U.S. for a prisoner exchange, a prisoner swap. Brittney Griner, Paul Whelan, another American the U.S. says is wrongfully detained by Russia in exchange for a Russian prisoner. What happens next?
Well, Andrea, certainly the White House was hoping that any verdict would accelerate this process. Russia has indicated that it wasn't until this trial, this court case, was resolved that they would begin in any earnest any conversations about a prisoner swap. You'll remember just last week we heard from the Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, announcing what they described as a serious offer that had been presented to the Russians back in June. That offer, as you detailed, was Brittney Griner and Paul Whelan. Paul Whelan, this former Marine who's been in the eyes of the U.S. wrongfully detained in Russia for years in exchange for an arms trafficker, a convicted Russian arms trafficker, a man by the name of Victor Bout. The Russians dismissed that, and according to the White House, they pushed back with a series of other suggestions. They wanted there to be another individual, a convicted murderer who is now being held in Germany, to be added to the mix there. The U.S. responding to that, describing that as not being a serious counteroffer, one that they say was not done in good faith. Secretary Blinken speaking to his counterpart, the foreign minister of Russia, Sergei Lavrov, just last week. And within the last couple of hours, I spoke to a national security official with the Biden administration who says that to this point, the U.S. says that Russia has not substantively engaged in these negotiations. Their desire in coming public, according to this official, was to try to jolt the process, to get Russia to do more, to engage more earnestly in this back and forth. So it remains to be seen whether this will perhaps be the impetus for that. The U.S., particularly this White House, has been in touch with Brittney Griner's family, the president and the vice president, speaking to Sherelle Griner, Brittney Griner's wife, early last month, and they've been speaking to her wife through other officials within recent days as well. Andrea, Savannah.
Peter, thank you very much. I want to turn to you, Keir. You certainly know these Russian officials. How do you read what is coming out of the Russian government? Sergei Lavrov and Antony Blinken having spoken on the phone for the first time since the war in Ukraine over this matter. And let us not forget that that is the political backdrop here.
Exactly. The Kremlin is negotiating, as the Kremlin does. When I interviewed the Kremlin spokesman, Dmitry Peskov, just a few weeks ago, before the White House had announced that it had made this offer, when I asked him whether Brittney Griner was a hostage, he said she wasn't, and then quickly segued to say, but Victor Bout, this Russian held in America, he is a hostage. So he was openly connecting two cases there. There's no doubt in my mind that the Russians would like to see some kind of a prisoner swap. But, of course, they are going to try and get, if you like, to put it bluntly, as much as they can from this. And I think this sentence, 9.5 years, will put the pressure on the White House again. The question is, what exactly does the Kremlin want now? What deal are they prepared to do? Because already the White House has said it is prepared to do a deal.
Yeah, so we'll continue to watch that. And I believe, Peter, the president has now weighed in on the sentence, which we have just reported, 9 years for Brittney Griner, the American, being held in Russia.
Yeah, Andrea, Savannah, that's exactly right, and certainly it demonstrates the urgency with which the White House is addressing this issue and the closeness with which they are watching it. This is from Joe Biden. President Biden says just moments ago, today, American citizen Brittney Griner received a prison sentence that is one more reminder of what the world already knew. Russia is wrongfully detaining Brittney, he writes. It's unacceptable, and I call on Russia to release her immediately so she can be with her wife, loved ones, friends, and teammates. He adds, my administration will continue to work tirelessly and pursue every possible avenue to bring Brittney and Paul Whelan home safely as soon as possible. Savannah, the words of President Biden within the last couple of minutes.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.